Kara Swisher is one of the most influential people in the tech world here in the United States. She has been working for the Washington Post, for the New York Times, for the Wall Street Journal, and is hosting some award-winning podcasts. Her latest podcast is called On with Kara Swisher. Kara, thank you so much for being on with Deutsche Welle today. Kara, let's talk Twitter. You previously stated that Musk could be the one to solve some of the Twitter problems. Why did he seem like the right fit at the time for you?
He had the money. He was very wealthy. He's got the means. He certainly has a lot of support in Silicon Valley and in tech. He's famous. You know, it sometimes takes a really well-known person to do these kind of things. And he has technical skills. I mean, he has people who have the technical skills. And lastly, he was a very avid user of the service. And so that's the kind of person you want to be, maybe bringing it to its full potential. And so, you know, he certainly could have done it quietly. Taking it private was a good idea. Getting rid of people was a good idea. It's just how he's doing it is the problem now. And it may have the same outcome, but it certainly tarnished his brand rather significantly.
You know him fairly well, Kara. So what exactly did Musk go wrong?
Today, he tweeted a picture of guns. Like, why? He tweeted a misinformation about Paul Pelosi's attack using an anti-gay trope. Now he's attacking Apple for not advertising on Twitter. Apple, which is who has to make a decision if the service becomes unsafe to remove it from the App Store. Of course, that's what he's doing. He's front loading that fight, so it looks like it's a free speech fight and not a safety issue on Twitter. Which the only way Apple would remove an app is if there's a safety issue, and so. It's a real, he's doing all kinds of things that are incredibly divisive and angry and in your face. A lot of it is stunts, so do not take them seriously. He's trying to call attention to the platform. He's essentially committing a traffic accident every day in order to get people interested in him. And that's no way to run a business, as far as I could tell from the people who have been really successful.
Why is he doing that, Kara?
Because he owes a lot of money. There's a lot of money at stake here. He may be, one theory is that he's trying to bring down the price of the debt so that he can buy it up for cheap and then own the whole company from the banks that lent him $13 billion. And so the more he shit talks the company, the more the price goes down. He could buy up that debt and own the whole company, and then later clean it up and take it public. There's lots of different reasons he could do it. He's in a really untenable position because he paid too much, and so he's got to figure out a way to pay less and then fix it and then bring it public, presumably.
But that's dangerous. I mean, he puts the whole platform in risk, right?
Yes, of course. He doesn't care. I mean, he's overpaid for, like, at the very heart of it, away from all his antics and his baiting of people and his rude remarks. Every time he makes a rude remark of me, I know I'm winning because he's desperate about something. And so he's desperately trying to figure a way not to lose as much money as possible and maybe make some money here. And because the original sin is he paid $44 billion for a company worth maybe $8 billion. That's where he's operating from. And so I don't think he's, financially suicidal here. I think he's got to figure out a way out of not having to overpay. He overpaid and he was made to buy it because that's what he said he was going to do. And so he's caught in a financial bind and he's trying to find a way to get out of it. And if saying hey to Kanye West, a deeply anti-Semitic person, or a bear hugging the right is going to work, he'll do it. He doesn't care.
How dangerous is this, Kara? You just said that he calls himself like a free speech absolutist or whatever.
He's not. He cuts people off all the time. Ines, it's crap. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's crap. But what I want to ask you is how dangerous is it really that Twitter becomes a platform for hate speech under his leadership?
Well, then it's a bunch of hate speakers talking to each other. I don't think it has an influence. If everyone runs off the platform, the whole beauty of Twitter is everybody's there talking to each other. It's a very small company. Let's just say, like, he goes on and on about the numbers. It's only because they're there to look at the traffic accident that he's making. And it's still so small compared to TikTok and Facebook and Instagram. It's minuscule. And now it has almost no advertising business. And so it's not a big business. And it's a big platform among the media and politicians, and that's it. Sorry, and that's why it gets so much attention. And that's where what precisely is the power that it has? That Marjorie Taylor Greene is an unrepentant anti-Semite and racist. Oh, I didn't know that before. I did know that. So she gets to say more terrible Jewish space laser stuff. Okay. Like, I don't know what power it gives her necessarily, except for within the Republican Party, certainly.
So we wouldn't miss Twitter if Twitter would be dead.
No. Lots of companies have come and gone. And I mean, he's going to do his level best to try to get his money back here. And so that's what he's got to do. And so again, he will resort to increasing numbers of antics. And he has two threats to him. One is the banks foreclose if they don't take the bait and let him buy back his debt. And that's in April, and he's got to pay it back, and he's got to get his rich friends and himself to fork over money as Tesla stock is going down. He's rich, but he's not that rich, right? It's a big chunk. And it's sort of throwing money out the door, essentially. Or Apple and Google can throw him off the platform if he creates an unsteady platform. They've done it before. They did it with Parler. That could happen. That would be devastating to the company. And that's why today he's attacking Apple. So whatever.
So, Kara, you said it was the right thing to get to lay some people off. Maybe you can talk a little bit about the mood amongst those who survived the layoffs at Twitter right now.
Well, they feel like hostages. That's my impression. A lot of them are on visas, or they don't have a choice for lots of different reasons. I'm interviewing someone tomorrow who he had touted as being his guy, and he left. He just couldn't take it, I think. I'm excited to talk to him about it publicly. But everyone I've talked to that stayed there and then left in the last week, wasn't laid off, is like, it's just capricious, and it's being run by the name they have for the people around Elon are flying monkeys, which is like from the Wizard of Oz. They feel like they don't know what they're doing. Now, look, this company, I've written about it for years and years. It's overstaffed, just like a lot of tech companies. The difference is Google can afford it and Twitter never could. And so it had too many people doing too many things. It never took advantage of advertising. It was always right there around. They had Vine before there was TikTok. They had Periscope before there were, Facebook Lives. And so they were always there, but they never were able to execute on a vision of subscription or payments or all kinds of stuff that they should have. And it's because it was too small and at the same time was run in kind of this haphazard way by a series of chief executives. Only one really did very well, which was Dick Costolo, but it still was too small.
So if Elon Musk won't be able to restore Twitter, what platforms do you think could take its place?
Oh, any of them, all of them. I mean, I'm advising one called Post, which is by the guy who created Waze. I've never agreed to advise someone, and this is the first time in my career. I've been an entrepreneur, so I have a history of doing that. It's very interesting. We'll see. It's very hard to create these things. You can still use Facebook and Instagram, and TikTok is killing it in terms of users and young people and people excited. There's obviously the major issues with the links with the Chinese government, and that is a very serious issue. I wrote a column about this 3 years ago saying I love TikTok, but I don't love the Chinese government, and so I'm using a burner phone. And so you have to really, there may not be another version of this, and maybe someone else will own Twitter someday, but it's such a hot mess, and it's been a hot mess its whole history, and he's just making it messier is really what's happening.
Kara, you're a journalist. Facebook in a way is also over as a reliable news source. They changed kind of their ideology. TikTok, as you just said, is closely inclined with China. Now we have Twitter. What does that mean for the media strategies of media companies?
Well, interestingly, I interviewed the head of Axel Springer this year, and he said he's trying his best to stay off TikTok, right? It's very hard. It's very hard to resist because that's where the eyeballs are. I think media companies really did abrogate their technological responsibility very early on by letting these companies take over the distribution means. And so it's going to be really hard to figure out where they can get people to listen and it's not in the United States, there were 3 broadcast networks. That was it. Right. And you could complain about that. One time someone was saying, this is terrible, all these people speaking on the internet. And I said, it used to be a dozen white men on the Upper East Side of New York that decided everything. That's not good either. Right. And so there's a medium to creating these things. But I do think, younger people are finding all kinds of different ways to get information. And I think media companies need to be creative in doing so. Obviously, cable is down, television watching is down. And so you have to find different ways to tell stories and bring them to people. I think it'll probably coalesce around a few strong media brands. The New York Times is a near news monopoly in the United States, as far as I can tell. The others are trying. The Washington Post happens to be owned by another one of the world's richest men. but still hard time. And so the question is, how do you avoid monopoly news systems once again that we had before?
How long will, that's my last question, Kara, how long will Elon Musk be with Twitter? What's your guess?
I don't know. I think he seems to be enjoying himself, I guess, if that's enjoyable. I called him my greatest disappointment. He was a visionary. He's a visionary in rockets and cars, but this is like watching a very badly raised and behaved 11-year-old, with keys to the Porsche and unlimited sugar treats, just doing whatever he wants. And that's never ends well.
Okay, thank you for sharing your thoughts, Kara, and we talk soon again.
Thanks.
Have a good one.
Thanks.